25th Century Games just launched a new campaign for Ra on Gamefound. We've got a prototype copy plus 2 of the older ones. So let's compare all 3 copies of Ra on today's video. Thank you for joining me here at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Ra has been around since about 1999, published by Aliyah. Ra is an auction and set collection game with an ancient Egyptian theme. Now, after Aliyah published it, some other publishers picked it up. I've got the next 2 reiterations here from Uberplay and from Asmodee, and the new prototype from 25th Century Games, and they just launched the crowdfunding campaign on Gamefound. There are 2 versions available on the campaign. Ours is closest to the retail version. In today's video, I wanted to compare all 3 games that you see here, and then at the end of the video, I'll share what the Deluxe version has in the box. As you can see, all 3 boxes are sort of different sizes. This one being, I think, the smallest one. It's just shaped a little bit differently. Both of them very rectangular. And then the biggest box is the one from Asmodee. And as you can also see, all the box cover arts are different as well. Let me know in the comments which box cover is your favorite art. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. But let's look inside the boxes and see why I think the newest version has the best components. Most of the game consists of tiles, so let's compare those first. For the whole video, I'll be showing the oldest version I have from Uberplay on the left, then the Asmodee one in the middle, and then the newest version from 25th Century on the right. As you can see, the Uberplay had a simpler version of the art for the illustrations, and the Asmodee went a little overboard with illustrations, so much so that it made it difficult to differentiate the tiles from each other. As you can see, a lot of just muted colors here, so the green sort of blends in with the blues and the tans. One of the major parts of this game is to be able to tell what the tiles are. And if it isn't easy to tell, it can really make the game harder to play. Throughout the game, tiles are placed in the center of the table, and you're sometimes looking for specific ones that will help you with your set collection. So it's extremely helpful to be able to see them and know what they are at a glance. You'll notice that the 25th Century tiles are actually a little bit bigger, which is nice as well. Here are the Pharaoh Tiles. Left you have the Uberplay, middle Asmodee, and right you have the 25th Century. Like I said, the Asmodee ones are just very muted and it's very hard to tell what they are right away. Also, you notice here the disaster tiles. One nice thing about the 25th Century version is that all the disaster tiles will have this red border on them with red X's, which makes it very clear that these are bad tiles. Here are the artisans. In the game, you want different kinds of artisans, so it's very important that you can tell which artisans are different from each other. The Uberplay ones on the far left are okay. The ones in the middle from Asmodee are just not good at all. And the far right ones, the 25th Century ones, you'll notice that they have different icons that are a little bit bigger on the tiles that show how they differentiate from each other, which is very good. Here's a look at the gold pieces that you'll find in the different versions. And now we have the god tiles in the different versions. I do find it interesting that the original 2 versions had Egyptian gods depicted on each of the different tiles, but in the new version it's just all one. I don't think it really matters because the god tiles do the same action on the turn. It doesn't really matter which one you have for an Egyptian god. And here we have the monuments. One of the things I like in the new Ra version from 25th Century are that they have the color purple at the top, so you know right away that these are monuments. Number 2, one of the main things at the end of the game is to see which monuments are different from each other, because you're sort of collecting sets of difference and sets of same. And they have Roman numerals on them, so you can sort of see, oh, I have Roman numeral 1 here, Roman numeral 6. I'm trying to collect other types of Roman numerals. I think that's very important in the game. And here are the Nile tiles for each of the games. You'll notice, and here are the Nile tiles for the games. Notice that the Asmodee one is really bad, trying to differentiate between Niles and floods. Floods are important because they help you score the actual Nile tiles. And here are the different point tokens in all 3 games. The original one had these Roman numerals, which actually not Roman numerals, they just had sort of symbols that represented numbers. Didn't like that at all. In Asmodee and now 25th Century, you actually have numbers that we're used to, which I think is very helpful. So here are the raw tokens in each of the games. Far left, you have the Uber Play, that's a blue. I think the original one had like a black, it was painted black. It was kind of cool that the Asmodee one was plastic, but this one from 25th Century is a very chunky, big raw token, which is fun to play with in the game. Here are the sun tiles. We have wooden ones that are smaller in Uber Play. Asmodee, they were just cardboard, but in 25th Century, I really like the pop of the teal and that they are bigger, which is very nice. And here are all the different main game boards. One thing I do like about the older versions are how they use the raw tiles, because you actually put them in these different spaces, whereas in the new version you're moving the boat, which I think is fine, but there's not really a space to place the raw tiles. I kind of liked the older versions for that personally. There are no player boards in the other versions. 25th Century is adding player boards for every single player, which I think makes the game so much better. On one side, you add tiles that are permanent for the whole game. So as you collect them, you know if they're on this side, then they're going to be there for the whole game unless they get destroyed through disasters. And the other side are tiles that will disappear each round and you need to collect them again every round in order to help you get points and things like that. That not only helps you for your own board, but you can also see at a glance what your opponents have on their boards too. Let's move to the deluxe version. It has upgraded tiles. All 180 of them are wooden instead of cardboard. And the point tablets for the deluxe version are metal, and that's pretty cool. So go check out the new version of Raw on Gamefound from 25th Century Games, and please tell your friends about Tantrum House. Let's spread the love of board gaming. Like and subscribe. We've got a prototype plus 2 of the older ones, so let's compare all 3 copies of Raw in today's video. One more time. We've got a prototype copy plus 2 of the older versions, so let's compare all 3 copies of Raw in today's video. And it's backwards. One more time.